our regular council meeting no sooner than 3 p.m. I will be reading the teleconference government code information at the start for all of our meetings this afternoon. And I will go ahead and start that right now. So this regular meeting, actually this meeting of the Yountville Housing Authority, Yountville Finance Authority, and Yountville Parking Authority, as well as the regular meeting of the Town Council, is being held pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E, related to conferencing of meetings. The Governor's proclamation of a state emergency is still in effect. The Town Council has made or will make the necessary findings under the law to hold teleconference meetings in this manner. Proper notice was given for these meetings. All persons are permitted to join remotely and address the Town Council directly. And the meeting will be delayed in the event of a town-caused disruption. This meeting will be held in all respects according to the requirements of Government Code Section 54953E. Town manager is present in his office. I, along with the rest of the council members, at least Moeller and Dorenbecker, and I see Councilor Knight is now joining, are all joining remotely, as are staff in conformance of the video audio conformance of Government Code Section 54953E. Members of the public have several ways they could provide public comment as a Zoom webinar attendee and using the Zoom raise hand feature. And I would call upon that person at the appropriate time. Also through email at publiccomment@yville.com. The third way is through the e-comment feature in Prime Gov, which can be found as a speech bubble with the HTML agenda. So with that, before we proceed further, I'd like to remind folks that any vote taken during the teleconference meetings will be taken by a roll call vote by our town clerk. Public hearing and administrative regular items with representatives that are not staff will provide presentations as they would during a typical council meeting held in council chambers, and will be called upon to speak during their agenda item. So I'll now ask our town clerk to confirm with our council that they can, able to hear the proceedings and have a copy of all of our agendas for this afternoon. Eddie.
Knight?
Yes to both.
Member Dorenbecker?
Yes to all.
Member Mueller?
Yes to both.
Chair Domer?
Yes to all of those. Let the record reflect, we have confirmed all members and directors for each of these meetings can hear and have the agendas. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and start with the first special meeting of the Yountville Housing Authority. We've confirmed the role, and please join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first order of business is election of officers to the Housing Authority.
Okay. Mayor, Chair Chernobyl, the Yountville Housing Authority bylaws calls for the appointment of a chair and vice chair for the Housing Authority of the town of Yountville at its annual meeting. The staff requests that the authority to appoint the mayor and vice mayor as the chair and the vice chair and for the Housing Authority of the town of Yountville. Let the record be known that at this point, the town has not yet appointed the vice mayor.
Right, and as for Councilmember Knight's information, since he was not here when town manager mentioned it, I don't believe, we traditionally name mayor and vice mayor, and since we don't have a vice mayor named yet, that person may be, that position will be fulfilled when somebody is appointed vice mayor, and since we typically only meet once a year, that person may not be identified until this time next year. So it would be appropriate to make a motion to nominate the mayor and vice mayor as officers of the Yountville Housing Authority.
Mayor, I would like to make that motion that we appoint the mayor as the chair and the to be determined vice mayor as the vice chair to the Yountville Housing Authority.
I'll second.
The,
So we have a motion, Councilmember Moeller, second, Councilmember Knight. Roll call, please, Eddie.
Councilmember Mueller, Member Mueller,
Yes.
Member Knight,
Yes.
Member Durham Becker,
yes.
Chair Dunbar.
Yes. So that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Chair, if I could add one thing.
Yes.
Because there is no vice mayor currently, and in the event that any of the authorities need to meet between now and January, I would recommend a separate appointment of that vice mayor once they actually enter the position. What's happened today is okay for purposes of the meeting now, but in the unlikely event the authorities meet before January, it'd be a good step to take.
So did you say that we would do it upon appointing a vice mayor? Is that what you were saying? Or if we reconvene the authorities?
Correct. If you reconvene, it's the latter.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the agenda for today's Housing Authority. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Move adoption.
Second.
Motion, Councilmember Knight, second, Councilmember Moeller. Eddie?
Member Knight,
Yes.
Member Mueller,
Yes.
Member Durham Becker,
Yes.
Chair Dunbar.
Yes. That passes unanimously. Approval of the minutes from January 19th, 2021. Are there any questions? I see no hands raised. Any public comment on this, Eddie?
No public comment.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes of January 9, 2021?
So moved.
January 19th.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion, Councilmember Mueller, second, Councilmember Dornbecker. Eddie?
Member Mueller,
Yes.
Member Durham Becker,
Yes.
Member Knight,
Yes.
Chair Dunbar.
Yes. Thank you. Public comment on items not on the Housing Authority agenda. Confirming, Eddie, no public comment?
No public comments, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move ahead to item 9, presentation, Housing Authority of the City of Napa Annual Report.
Very briefly, I'd like to introduce Jonathan Sakamoto for the City of Napa Housing Authority, but I'd also like to introduce a new face that is joining us, which is Kyle Johnson, as our newest assistant planner. So we now have a full professional planning staff. And with that, we will turn it over to Kirsty and then to Jonathan for an update on the efforts on behalf of the City of Napa Housing Authority staff for performing their staff duties on our behalf.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, we're happy to be here. I'm happy to announce Kyle. Kyle, I don't know if you want to say a little bit about yourself before we move on.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is Kyle. I'm coming from the University of California, Santa Barbara, and I'm actually from Sonoma County, so it's good to be moving back close to home.
So we're really pleased to have him. Kyle comes with a GIS background, and he is going to be working on regards to managing a lot of the housing element update process. And I think you guys are going to be seeing Kyle a lot more, and we're excited to have him on board. In addition, I've been working with Jonathan and working with the City of Napa on, I think Yountville has done a great job in affordable housing, and we're just really happy to be here, and we're happy to have Jonathan on board, and I know he's developed a presentation. So Jonathan, welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you everyone for having me back. So
You're welcome.
Good afternoon. Mayor Dunbar and council members, commissioners. I'm going to share my screen so I can show the presentation. All right. So thank you again for the opportunity. This is our annual report to the town of Yountville from the City of Napa Housing Authority and the work that we've been doing this last year. It's been a year since I've seen you guys. Some of you. So the town contracts annually with the Housing Authority to provide services. It's a variety of services, including technical assistance related to housing functions, maintenance of affordable housing stock, funding resources, the monitoring of affordable housing projects, and rental assistance projects as well. Additionally, the Housing Authority is contracted to administer the town's home and cow home programs and the other services that they provide as well through those programs. So one of the main functions of the Housing Authority is to administer the rental assistance programs countywide, including the town of Yountville. This is for the Section 8 Housing Assistance Program or Housing Choice Voucher Program. HUD annually awards the Housing Authority grant funds to provide rental assistance to very low-income households. Grant funds are used to issue vouchers to very low-income households to assist them with paying their rent on market rate rental units. Our program has been able to add vouchers this past year with 45 emergency housing vouchers. Of those 45 vouchers that were issued, 40 of them are already housed countywide. There are also 20 additional project-based vouchers coming online within the city of Napa. So lots happening countywide as far as providing affordable rentals. Of the vouchers that have been issued and are being used, 20 of them are being used in Yountville. There's one person left on our waiting list. The waiting list will probably reopen sometime late spring, we believe. More on that to come. So for each of the households that receive rental assistance through the Housing Authority, we meet with them annually with their housing specialists to review what their income is, to make sure they're still eligible, what benefits and services that we're required to provide. And each of the units undergoes a housing quality inspection to make sure that they're safe and clean and so the tenants are happy. The other area of countywide activities that the Housing Authority represents for the town is through homeless service projects. Myself and the housing manager attend the continuum of care meetings where local nonprofit housing agencies and county's health and human services gather to discuss strategies on helping to end homelessness and work on the homelessness population, give them the assistance that they need. For the 2021 grant, HUD has approved a 5% increase to compensate for the increased costs of higher rents here in Napa County. Normally around this time, the continuum of care is actually preparing for the point in time count where they're going to go throughout the county and try to identify what the homeless population is, where they are, what they need. The next area of discussion would be the standard services agreement that we have currently. So one of the main things we do is we provide regulatory agreement monitoring. For the annual for sale affordable housing monitoring, we verify that the owners still live there, that the homes are insured, and that the property taxes are current. We also respond to inquiries from the homeowners and lenders regarding the town subordination policies, should people want to refinance. Lots of refinancing happening these days with the low interest rates. So we assist the homeowners in that process. The other area is annual rental project monitoring. For the affordable housing projects that do exist, we make sure that they're in compliance with the town's affordable housing agreements, that the tenant income certifications are being done timely, the affordable unit count is appropriate, and that they are in compliance with the local housing preference policy for who's being assisted. The other area of program administration is loan servicing. So for the owner-occupied rehabilitation program, we've assisted 4 households within this last year. We've done everything from repairing ranges and replacing broken HVAC units, roof repairs, earthquake tie downs for safety, and some substantial bathroom repairs to some of the units that were in the town. The total value of the loans issued in the last year was $93,000. And we also manage the town's tenant basemental assistance program. This was launched during the pandemic to respond to potential folks losing their housing from their work. So we launched the program last year. We're currently assisting 3 households, and so that, and administering means making sure the payments are going out timely to the landlords, and that we're communicating with the tenants to make sure that we're making adjustments to their rent if their income is changing or anything like that. Total payments made to this point is around 10,000. So for the housing outreach, or for owner-occupied rehab, there's been marketing outreach done this past year, mailings, visits to the mobile home parks. Program flyers have been posted in English and Spanish on public bulletin boards to the town, also provide information to the website, and been on the local radio station advertising for the program. In the area of loan servicing, we conduct the annual monitoring to confirm that the owner occupancy insurance coverage for those owner-occupied rehabs are being paid and everything's registered. So next is for the status of the grants. So the 2018 grant was awarded back on February in 2019. We had asked that $250,000 be set aside for tenant-based rental assistance and $250,000 be set aside for owner-occupied rehabilitation loans. The grant was amended in May to include the tenant-based rental assistance. Standard agreement was executed back in June, and the grant setup was approved in August. 2019 grants are in the process. We're working kind of behind the scenes to make sure that's up and running as soon as possible. It took quite a while for HCD to get those out to us. They were approved last year, but we didn't see them until recently as far as getting the actual contracts from HCD. Not much activity for Cal Home. There's been one loan repayment back in 2020. So with the balance being so low, until another loan is repaid, it's probably too small of a project to be done at this time. If more payments come in, we can look at doing more projects with Cal Home. So home and Cal Home service agreements, we submit the project reporting to HCD, and we maintain accurate financial accounting of these grant funds and track them throughout their history. The Housing Authority also maintains project files and tenant files for the owner-occupied rehab loans, as well as for the tenant-based rental assistance files. And we submit all the required documents quarterly and annually to HCD on the behalf of the town. And we are getting ready for that 2019 grant to be active for that $500,000, which will be through owner-occupied rehabilitation. Thank you for your time. Sorry, the slide ended before I was quite prepared. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of them for you. We are always happy to be of any kind of service at the time.
Jonathan, thank you very much. I just have a broad question about the new housing legislation that has made it through in Sacramento. Do you see any impact on all of those programs that you were just listing with either additional funding or discontinued funding going forward, or is it still too early to know?
It's probably too early to know. They're still doing NOFAs quite frequently, so the money is still there and it's still available for everybody. I know the 2020 NOFA came out. It was due in March. It's a dual NOFA, so there's plenty of funding out there for people who can access them and spend them.
Mayor and Council, I do want to share. Jonathan mentioned that we also have occasionally loans that are repaid or the homeowner sells. One of the nice things about both of these grant opportunities is while they are forgivable to the homeowner if they stay in the property long enough, when they do sell or transfer, the fund balance comes back and then we are able to reissue them. So in many cases, they have a longer, if you will, shelf life. So that's a very positive aspect. And we also, I do want to share that the City of Napa Housing Authority staff has been helping to work with us to increase our the housing value so that we're able to help more homeowners. So they've helped to work to increase the value of the homes so that we can potentially help, because some of our especially senior homeowners, they may have great equity in the house, but they don't, accessing the equity means they lose their housing. So it's important to work on the value ratio so we're able to support them for rehab loans. So that's been a a positive, and it's allowed us, I think we've had at least one unit we've been able to help that way.
Great, thank you, Steve. I don't see any
Mayor and
hands.
Council, I also just wanted to
Yes.
highlight, I don't know if you were acknowledging, but Jonathan mentioned the 2019 home grants are finally, the contracts are just coming out. So if you know of anybody who applied for a 2019 grant or were waiting for it, I think those contracts are going to be starting to come out. The state was really far behind. So I don't know when those contracts are going to be coming. Jonathan, if you could give an update on that, I think it'd be helpful for the public to know if there was any seniors who applied for those grants, that those contracts are going to start to come out.
I did an update as soon as we hear anything additional. As far as the increase to the limits for after rehab values, those are still with HUD. And so we continue to check in with them to make sure that that process is still moving. With the pandemic, they are very, very far behind with getting those approvals.
All right, I don't see any hands confirming, Eddie, no public comment. Okay. Jonathan, thank you very much. Kirsty, thank you. That, I believe, takes care of our business for the Yountville Housing Authority. I will go ahead and adjourn to our next meeting, which is scheduled for Tuesday, January 17th, 2023 at 2 p.m. So, yes. Diane, was that a question or a wave goodbye?
Neither, but we can wrap it up into a wave goodbye. I was just
Okay, I just caught your hand at the last second. So yes, we'll go ahead and adjourn the Yountville Housing Authority meeting, and Eddie will transition us to the next meeting, which is going to be the Yountville Finance Authority. So if you can just give us